Hi, everybody. My name is Chloe, and today we are here with a TGIFriend Day. And that is so exciting because this is one of my favorite people, like on BookTube in the world. Today is also Christmas. When you are watching this, potentially, it's airing on Christmas. So Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. Yay. If you are choosing to hang out with us, then thank you. Welcome to this little chat. So this lady, if you don't know her, what are you doing? Because she is just one of the kindest individuals. Like, it almost makes me weepy to talk about you because you are the kindest individual. You are a girl's girl. You are a supporter. You are a cheerleader. And you take darn good Instagram pictures that always make me want coffee. And I'm like, I know you well enough that I know your life is not just like chill and zen, but your pictures put me in that place. And I'm like, gosh, I feel, like I just want to sit and drink coffee and read my books, and it's just wonderful. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're doing this. You know I love you. I'm Bree Hill, and I do a little bit of everything. I'm kind of a fail at blogging, but I love Instagram. I love chatting with my friends. I just love talking about books. So
Yes.
I try to do a little bit of everything.
And what is your blog name, and what is your Instagram name, handle,
So
whatever?
yeah, so the blog is falling4romance.com, which I'm determined to get back into it. It is hard. I don't know why.
Yeah, it is.
And my Instagram is falling4romance as well. I did a lot of research when I decided I wanted to blog, and I knew that you had to use social media to boost yourself. So that's kind of how they started, but I
So
pay
which
way
came
more attention
first?
to one.
Which
I
came
start
first?
the blog.
Okay. And
blog
then
and
interesting. So let's take it back. What got you into reading in the first place?
So it's weird because I was actually talking to my mom about this the other day, and I was like, I just feel like I've always been reading. Like, I wanted to figure out, did somebody read to me, and that got me into it. And she was like, yeah, you just always kind of did. So
Yeah.
I think I'm one of those people that can say, like, I've just always been reading.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes like you have people in your life that read, but not like you. So I
Yeah.
didn't see people reading. I knew I had readers in my life, but it was just a thing that I did, and I
Yeah.
knew some people did.
Yeah. But like your family didn't, and nobody was big readers?
Yeah, like my grandma loves reading magazines and the newspaper, but I never saw her reading books.
Yeah.
Uh, I have an uncle I'm very close to. He reads a lot of different spirituality books. Like, he's really into meditation and stuff like that. So I saw his books, but I
Right.
never really saw him reading. So
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know if you had like a teacher or anything, or like?
golly, no.
Yeah, you're
I
just
just think I think it was growing up in the 90s, we had the Goosebumps and the Babysitters Club and the Boxcar Children. Like, we had so many books for kids
yeah.
that it just was a thing.
And like cult followings of books, like those kind of things, even non-readers were reading them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel like, I mean, I feel so old saying this, but it is true that TV and books and all of that were way better when we were kids than they are now. Like, back in the day, they were way better.
For those old farts that are
So,
in
yeah,
my day. Yeah.
right. Anybody that's watching this under the age of like 20 is probably like, yeah,
Yeah.
old ladies, like, you can stick to your heyday. But so how did you decide to like take it social? So to start your blog, to start your Instagram, like, what made you say, I need to talk to people about this, and I need this to be a thing?
Well, I discovered booktube in 2014 when I moved to Texas, and I had moved to this state after living in Georgia for 7 years. Like, I knew nobody here. And then I found booktube because a singer, A. Marie, an R&B singer, she posted a link to a YouTube channel, and it had books in the title. And I was like, what? So
Yeah.
I went to her channel, and then you know how you find your first booktube video and you get all
Yeah.
these recommendations. And I'm like, people talk about books on YouTube. So
Yeah.
that I watched for I say a year and a half. And then, when you find booktube, you're like, I want to do this. I want to
Yeah.
do this.
It's so
So
addicting.
Yeah. So
And
that's what I did. That's what I did.
yeah. So you started with booktube, then did the blog, and then did the Instagram.
Yeah.
Interesting. And Instagram is what's kind of stuck for you?
Yeah, it's like for Instagram, it's the thing that, as moms, we have to have our thing, like
Yes.
that one or two things we do for ourselves. And so
Yes.
with Instagram, I was like, I really like found accounts that I liked their content and what they were
Mhm.
saying. And I just kind of sat back and watched for a little bit. And I was like, I want to go get coffee and read at the coffee
Yeah.
shop. So I started doing that. And like, it's really just, I want other women to see, like, I do make time for myself to like
Yes.
go sit, have coffee and read. Like, that's the
Yes.
whole gist of it. So,
And that is so important because you have 3 kids. They're all at home because of COVID, and making that a priority is something that you could so easily like sweep under the rug, but then that would not be good for anybody. So it is nice to see that you do that. Have you ever had like an interest in photography?
I I do, but like when people start talking about you gotta have this lens and you
Yeah,
gotta, I'm like, and then
too
seeing how
much.
expensive cameras are, I'm like, oh
Yes.
my gosh.
I know. Then it's like, no wonder these photographers are charging so much for
Yeah,
pictures, but like that equipment is not cheap.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love looking at pictures on it. Like I'm always on Instagram
Mhm.
looking at like people that travel to like Africa and South America, like
Mhm.
travel photographers, like taking pictures of animals. I love like ocean pictures. I love food pictures, but I'm like, I don't even want to know how expensive the camera was
Yes.
that you use
Yes.
to shoot that.
Yes.
So I'm
That
more of an
that is
observer.
Instagram, man. It is so, because I'm the same way. Like I love the travel stuff. I love the book stuff. I love the food stuff. And I'm like, scroll, scroll, 3 hours later. So what did you want to be when you grew up?
Girl, I don't
You
know.
don't know?
I've always just, I've always been so interested in different stuff. Like I had a really good 8th grade history teacher. So I think that's really shaped the path that I'm currently on, like pursuing my history degree, wanting to teach. But then, like, before that, I was like, oh, I want to go into space and be like a space person, astronomer.
You
Like,
dream
I've
big.
always,
I love it.
I just like have these like really like these interests that I'm like, how are you really going to do that? Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to study the dinosaurs and be a
Yep.
scientist, and yeah.
Then maybe you should read that Jodi Picoult book if you're thinking
Oh, I know, girl.
dinosaurs are cool.
Oh my gosh, anything Egypt, I love Egypt.
Really?
That's why I messaged you. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think about this
I
book?
would do it then. I don't know if anybody watching has read Jodi Picoult's newest book. I have not heard anything about it, but yeah, you should do it. Definitely.
Yeah, I hate that I left. Like when I'm in Barnes and Noble, if it's a book that I haven't read the author or whatever, like I will pull up Goodreads, and I've
Mhm.
got to stop letting reviews that other people put out there
Yep.
sway my decision. Because I feel like I probably missed out on a really good book by not buying it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like if it's less than like 3.75, I'm like, I'll try it from the library, or I'm not going to buy it. But I mean, I have unpopular opinions all the time, so I don't know why I do that, but
yeah.
I do. I do. So, what is your favorite genre?
My favorite is romance.
Of course, Falling for Romance makes sense.
But I'm like, I'm reading a memoir right now. I love memoirs by women, and I'm like, dang, it's been since like February of 2020 since I read a memoir.
Oh,
And
really? Who are you reading right now?
I'm reading, it's called Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And she's like a British podcaster, journalist. And it's
Okay.
just all like girlhood and her coming of
Yeah.
age. I'm like, it just reminds me of why I love a good memoir.
Yes. Yes. I love those kind of books. That is she, especially, is she just like kind of an average lady? Like,
Yeah.
is she really
Just
exceptional?
like, yeah,
Yeah.
just all like female positivity, just sharing stories of like being in
Yes.
college and pursuing journalism and like going to parties with their friends and
Yeah.
you know, waking up and it's all them together and like those happy moments and seeing them grow up and they're getting married and she's not,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
it's really good.
I love it. And that's why I like women's fiction, because I just love like walking with somebody and seeing their story. So, who are some of your favorite authors? I equate you with Jill Shalvis, and I binged her because of you, and I enjoy her because of you. But who else besides Jill Shalvis are some of your favorites?
Queen Jill.
Yeah, yeah.
This is tough because I feel like there are very few authors. Like, I just want to read so many people that
Mm-hmm.
Jill Shalvis is one of the only ones that like I discovered I loved her and I've been really working on reading all of her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm so like spread out all over the place. But
Yeah.
I love Susanna Kearsley, which you read and did not
Mm-hmm.
enjoy.
But I just don't love historical. I don't love
Yeah.
historical, and I think it was just like a slower pace than I like.
Yeah, and I'm worried that if I try to reread her, I wouldn't like her.
Mm-hmm.
But I read her when I read historical fiction, and I loved it. So
Yeah,
I've just decided I'm not going
just
to
let
reread
that
anything.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I really love. I really love Naima Simone. She writes
Mm-hmm.
some indie Harlequin. I really love her. I really love Debbie Maycomber, who we talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, some of her newer
Another
stuff.
person I think about with you is Queen Bev, and I just read my first book from her, I think.
I saw on your CYO holiday adventure on story.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, I forgot about
Yeah.
this.
It's a short novella, and those are hard sells for me. So I'm not judging. Like, I think I can't say if I like her or not, but because that one was not my favorite. But
Yeah, I love her just because I mean, history nerd, and she really puts a
mhm.
lot of history into her books. I have so many.
Yeah.
I have so many. It's really hard. I don't want to say this is like a favorite author because I've read all of her books, but like I reread Eat, Pray, Love every year at the
You
beginning of the year.
do.
Every year I reread that book. I loved
Really?
Wild by Cheryl Strayed. Like
Yeah.
I reread that one every year at the beginning of the year. And it's not like I read all their stuff, but
Yeah.
I do consider them favorites just because like they have books that I reread. And I'm not much of a
Yeah.
rereader.
Yeah. What about Sarah Morgan?
Oh gosh, I love Sarah Morgan because I
Yes.
reread
Yep.
Miracle on Fifth
Yep.
Avenue every year. So yeah, I have so many. I have too.
So, how did you get into romance? Do you know?
Yes. So it was booktube. So when I first joined booktube, I read historical fiction. I was trying to read literary fiction, girl, and a lot
Mhm.
of that stuff was like going
I
over my head.
know.
Like, I don't
Yep.
get it. I'm dumb.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So, but like, so I'm like hauling all these historical fictions and literary fictions. And then about 2 years into it, I found Jess from Peace Love Books. And it was the first time that I felt like, and I felt this multiple times since, but like, you know how sometimes you'll find a new channel and it's like you found the community all over again?
Yep.
I
Yep.
had that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fresh. She's talking about something nobody else is talking about. So I watched her, rewatched her, binged all of her videos for like a year. And then I remember 2017, I was watching Hallmark and I saw that the movie was like based off of a novel. And I'm like, these are based off of books.
Yeah.
And I was like, you watch these every year and you've never read a
Yeah.
romance novel. So this was around the same time that I had discovered Overdrive and I'd gotten a
Okay.
library card. So I Googled like romance author that writes holiday romances and Debbie Maycomber
Of
popped.
course. Of
And
course.
so I'm like getting on Overdrive and I'm like, okay, this lady's a big deal because like all the books are checked out.
Yeah.
And that was the year Marion Bright came out. So I
Oh, yeah.
pre-ordered that and I checked out what I could and I was just like, oh, I like this. And
Yeah. Yeah. The rest is
the
history.
rest is
How
history.
fun. So, what are some of your favorite tropes?
I I don't think that there's many I don't like except for like the baby issue, which we talked about at length. Because I like trying different tropes to see like what I think and what makes them work. I think
Mhm.
my faves, I mean, I love rom-coms and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
anything can work well in a rom-com, but like I love the childhood second chance,
Sweetheart, whatever.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those. I actually really do like second chance romance
Mm-hmm.
if it's done right, because it's
Yep.
not like a fan favorite.
Yep.
Um, yeah, like I love like workplace romances and romantic comedies because that
Mm-hmm.
usually lends itself well. I don't know if Christmas is a trope, but I love Christmas.
Yeah.
I love time travel. I love like all the things.
Yeah. I am like in the middle of an existential crisis because I've been reading a couple second chance romances that I don't like.
Yeah,
And I think in order to like it, it has to have dual timelines at some point where you see them before at some point
yeah,
and can like connect to them before and then see them come back. But or like serial cheating. That's one thing I just am like, why would you ever take him or her back? That's
yeah.
dumb. Like
See,
I
I
don't
haven't read, I don't think I've read many cheating books. So I
then
haven't
maybe
had,
don't check out that Queen Bev book.
okay.
Not that I'm talking about that or anything, but God, this guy's like a serial cheater, and then they come back together at Christmas time, and all is well. So
Yeah, second chance is such a hard sell because I have to really believe. Sometimes it's so stupid the reason that they broke up in the first place. Like I
yeah,
have to believe that like that was believable and like it's worth y'all coming back together.
right, right, yep. What do you wish there was more of in the book world, in publishing or um, any aspect of the book world?
I feel like a lot of the things that I would typically say we are starting to see. I do see obviously more diversity, more inclusion. I think there's like obviously long ways to go when it comes to that. I definitely want to see, you know, I I love female romances, but you don't see those traditionally published as much as
Mhm.
we are seeing male romances
Yeah,
traditionally published. You know, and I just think of, you know, women who are in relationships with women that how bad that must suck to go into the bookstore
hmm
and not be able to pick up a book that reflects what you love. So I would like to see more of that. And I think everything has its time. Like I love like gothic romances. I would love to see those come back around. Like I don't know, I just want some dark and creepy stories with a
yeah,
love story at the end,
yep.
you know, but you don't see that so much. But I think they all have their wave and they'll come back around if it's meant to.
Yeah. The female thing is interesting to me because so many people writing romance are women.
Mhm.
Why do they choose to tackle male and not tackle female? Like, that's what is really hard for me to understand of like, why don't we see more of that?
Yeah. And I don't, I mean, trying to choose my words carefully,
Yeah.
but like what it boils down to is I don't know if I want to read a male romance written by a woman.
Right.
Like I've talked to Steph, our friend Steph's Romance Book Talk, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, yeah, there are some that do it really well. And I'm like, that's great, but like, I want a male author to write it.
Well, and like, can we really say that as women? We don't know what the male experience is. Like, I would
Right.
love to hear more own voices,
Yeah,
stories like that.
because I
But
don't think I want a male writer writing a female
no, because
romance.
yeah, because it very quickly passes into like fetish territory
Yeah,
or something where then it's like questionable intent that yeah, and I think that's part of the reason I haven't really dove into that at all is just because it's like I don't have interest in reading a woman trying to talk about this experience that is so far from her own.
right. Yeah.
But um, tell me if you think this is true, because I feel like being immersed in the booktube world, uh, my perspective is a little skewed, but I would really like to see more, I mean, more indie published things get more notoriety, I guess, or more, I mean, you're not going to see it in Barnes and Noble and you're not going to see it in these big shops. But even like the booktube awards and stuff, it feels like I wish that was more indie heavy. Do you think that's right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think booktube awards and stuff, I mean, they just need to include romance
Yeah.
more anyway.
And like give women's fiction its own category and stop
Yeah,
putting all the women's fiction in romance because they are not
yeah.
the same.
I saw this tweet that an author posted, and she was like, you guys come up with these best of awards lists, and she's like, romance isn't on there, but yet it's
Mhm.
the fiction genre that pays for all the other ones, but we're totally ignoring it. And it's like,
Yep.
yeah, but I think within, I mean, there are, I think, romance readers that don't read indie.
Hmm.
There's romance readers that only read indie and don't read traditional. So it's just such a big genre, and there's so much that's out there that's available. But
Hmm.
yeah, like we got to stop sleeping on indie romance because
Yeah. Well,
there's some good.
that would kind of like progress some of the things that we want to see in the publishing world, is just because they're allowed to go there in ways that traditional publishing can't. And so I would
And
like to see more.
I mean, like when I went to Barnes and Noble yesterday and I messaged you all, like Barnes and Noble, sometimes it's a struggle. Like if it's not
Hmm.
a traditionally published novel that I know is going to be out there, if I just go
Hmm.
in there to browse, sometimes I really struggle. Like I don't want any of this. And it all falls back on like a lot of the stuff that you get recommended is indie and you're not going to see it in there. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to see, but I think a lot of authors choose to go indie because maybe they do have that liberty to do whatever they
Right.
want.
Well, and I think authors like Colleen Hoover and Naima Simone and that kind of thing, people who do both, I think are great for the indie world, because otherwise your average reader, I think, goes into Barnes and Noble and like kind of finds books that way that they're not going to find it. And so maybe finding authors like that will help with some of that. So what are some of your favorite books of the year?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have two that I really haven't stopped talking about, which was Almost Just Friends by Jill Shalvis.
Yep.
I just loved that book. And then The Trouble with Hating You by Sajni Patel. It is so good. And I feel like it is the perfect example of like why I feel like people should stop discounting romance. Is like, I think light and fluffy is great. There's a time and place for light and fluffy, but
For
like
sure.
assuming that that's all you're going to get, and then you read a story like that where, it's like the heroine, I was seeing reviews, people were like, yeah, she was just really hard to like. She was really tough. And I'm like, okay, well, she had been sexually assaulted. She was Indian. So by a religious leader in her
Oh
community,
man.
nobody believed her. Her own father didn't believe her. So, like, what do you expect? And I thought,
Yeah.
this is how women either choose to be like, I'm going to
Mhm.
maintain control of my situation, or the other options that are out there. And I just felt like she was a perfectly written character. I liked her. I respected her for how she maintained herself.
Mhm.
um and there was a love story at the end. It was funny and it was sad, it was heartbreaking, like it
Yeah.
had so much. And I'm just like, this is one of those books.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So definitely those two. And then at the very beginning of the year, I read a book by Christine Feehan, which was like perfect balance of romance, a little bit of paranormal, and suspense. And I just remember loving it. It's called Waterbound because I feel like it's tough to juggle all three of those things.
Yeah.
I felt like she did it really well. So,
What about least favorites?
you know, I'm such a picky reader. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I've had any that I don't even know if have I DNF'd a book?
Yeah, that's what I want to, that was what I was going to ask next. Do you, and have you?
I think the only one that really burned me up is the one that you, me, and Sarah Buddy read.
Yeah.
Um, in September at the Christmas Women's
Oh
Fig,
yeah.
which it had so much potential and it was like on its road to being a 5-star read. And then that
Hmm.
one aspect to the story, I was just like, so disappointed.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, definitely a bummer. And I probably brought that down for you a little bit, but
Well, I think I would have caught it, but being able to read it with you and Sarah, and
mhm.
then you explain, like break down so much of what we were like, we don't like this, but then hearing you like break it down even further, I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, no, this is
Yeah.
not realistic
We're
either. So,
talking about a book where infertility was done wrong and in a harmful way, in my opinion. But yeah.
and I think that answers another question that you asked. I would like to see more of that, but like
Mhm.
figure out another way to give us a happy ever after.
Yes.
Maybe they decide to adopt, or maybe they just
Yes.
decide we'll just be a single couple. It's fine.
Yes. Or don't ever go into specifics about how severe the infertility is, and don't throw out the words IVF, because if you talk about IVF, that ups it to a certain level of like severity, and then you can't just whoops accident, like you can, but that it's very, very rare and happens way more in the publishing world than it does in real life. But so what are you currently reading?
So I'm currently reading Everything I Know About Love, the memoir.
Yep.
What I have like 4 books on my nightstand.
I know.
Um, like I'm in one of those phases where like all my library holds come in, and like I keep saying deliver later,
I
deliver later.
know. Yep. Yep.
So I have that. I have a cozy mystery, Mrs. Muir and the Ghost. I don't know. I love cozy mysteries. So
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
second in a series I need to read. I just put it on my nightstand, so I haven't started it. I'm reading a Phyllis Whitney romance suspense mystery novel called Black Amber, which is interesting. It was written in like the 70s, and the heroine travels to, I think, Istanbul. So I'm like, let's see
Mm.
how good this one holds up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that's it for right now. Next, I have the newest Virgin River novel on Libby. So I'm going to start that next
Have
after I
you
finish.
read a lot of that series?
Girl, this will be the first.
Okay. I'm so interested. I want to hear your thoughts, because we know Sarah does not like it because everybody gets pregnant and there's no virgins in Virgin River. So I want to hear your thoughts.
She is the reason why I have not read any of the new ones, but I was like, okay, this is the latest one. It's about a writer. Maybe there's nothing to do with getting pregnant
So
involved.
you're just jumping in this
I'm
far
just
in?
jumping in, girl. I'm just jumping
Bree, you rebel. Daredevil, actually.
in. I know that's not your thing. I don't mind, girl. I will just jump
Really?
in the series.
Well, especially like those are companion series. I don't think you'll be missing out at all, but I have a ton on my shelf, and ugh,
And
yeah.
especially because I have the first Virgin River book,
Oh, you
but
do?
I'm like, no.
Do you watch many adaptations?
No, I wanna watch that one because everybody talks about how good it is.
I know.
And I'm like, I'm assuming they strayed away from the problems in the book. So
Well, and I'm wondering if maybe that's one that's better as a, is it a movie? It's a series, right?
a
A
Netflix
TV
series,
series.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I wonder if it's better as a series, or if they, like you said, like kind of fix some of the problems.
Yeah, I've seen one for Sweet Magnolias. I think it's by Cheryl Woods on
Mm-hmm.
Netflix. And it's another one that everybody says is like really good. And they're like, they definitely changed it from the books. It's way more
Oh,
diverse than
really?
the books are and stuff like that. So I'm like, I think I'm going to start with that one because it
Mm-hmm.
looks really good.
That one has Britney Spears' little sister in it.
Jamie Lynn.
Jamie Lynn Spears. Yep.
Where she's
I,
from.
I follow her on Instagram, and I like her.
I do too. I was
Growing
like,
up in Britney's shadow couldn't have been easy.
Zoe 101,
Yep.
girl.
Yep. Yep. Again, back in the day when Disney TV was good.
No.
Okay, well, are you ready for the this or that? Rapid fire. Okay.
I'm ready.
Ebook, audiobook, paperback, or hardback? The first one.
Life Girl audiobook.
Audiobook right now, yeah. Otherwise, I would be reading like a 5 a month, maybe.
Right.
Buy or borrow?
Borrow.
I feel like you do really good at both. Like,
Yeah, I do.
yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I borrow a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Quiet or background noise?
Quiet.
Really?
Mhm.
So do you count like coffee shop noise as quiet or background noise?
Um, I think for me, it's kind of quiet. Like
Yeah.
I can hear it, but it's not like overly loud. And even when I go to the coffee shop, I'll have my headphones so I
Oh,
can listen to
really?
the same book.
Do
Yeah.
you listen? Oh, okay, okay. Um, Indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor.
Yeah.
But it's too hot here. So
But is it now? Is now a nice time of year?
now is nice. Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah.
time. I always think of like growing up, like living in Missouri.
Uh-huh.
The weather in the Midwest is so random,
Yep.
but like I just remember summers being able to sit outside all day under the
So
shade,
nice.
and
Yep.
yeah,
So
I would
nice.
ideal.
There you go. Which it probably was not as like rosy as you remember it, but now you would probably go back and try to replicate it and be like, this sucks.
Girl outside
Hot,
with
there's
Jerry
bugs.
from Sonic.
Yeah.
That's Jerry.
Yep. Yep. Meet your favorite author or meet your favorite character?
Meet your favorite author.
Book to film or book to TV series?
Mm. Book to series. Let's do the From Manhattan with Love series by Sarah
Oh,
Morgan.
that would be good.
Bring it to series.
Yes. Who do we need to talk to? That would be good. Classics or new releases?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm gonna say classics, but I mean like backlist.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That works.
I
Uh,
love reading through a backlist.
yeah. No new books or no rereading?
Gosh, no rereading.
Yeah. This one's so hard. So
That's hard.
hard. Standalones or series?
Standalone.
Hmm. Well, and I feel like series, like as a romance reader, series are kind of like series,
Yeah.
because they're all kind of a series of standalones for the most part. Solo or book club?
Book
I was
club.
gonna say, being one of the book sisters, you better say book club.
Yeah.
And then coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What's your favorite Hallmark movie? Christmas.
Oh my gosh. Christmas and Evergreen Bells Are Ringing, the one that came on last week.
Okay. I need to up my game. I've been slacking on the Hallmark watching, and I've got to get on it. Days are ticking. When does it end? Does it end
It goes
on
through the
Christmas?
entire month of December. Yeah. I
Okay.
think the whole month.
But do you watch them after Christmas?
The Christmas movies?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Like when
I
COVID kicked off, girl, they gave us like a week or
Mhm.
so. I sat and watched the whole
Oh
thing.
yeah. I just like the week after Christmas, I can't do anything Christmas related. I'm like, it's over. Don't rub it in. I don't want to, like come back to me in
You're
February.
such a funk.
Yeah, it does. Like December 26th. We need to bring Boxing Day to the United States because we need that like linger.
Girl, I'm usually in a funk actually on Christmas.
Yes.
I just love like Halloween through December 25th, and then like Christmas
Yes.
comes, and I'm like, now we
The
gotta wait another
anticipation
year.
is so much better than the actual like event. But yeah, especially like lately because I've got such young kids and I'm just so like overwhelmed with stuff. I have a
Yeah.
feeling like Christmas Day, I'm going to be like, okay, everybody put your stuff away right now. We got to, I'm going to be that mom that ruins Christmas because of all this stuff. But last question. What's your favorite snack?
Oh my gosh. So is it Talenti? There's like that gelato ice cream,
Oh yeah.
caramel cookie crunch.
Yeah.
I love like listening to my audiobook and eating that ice cream.
Yeah. What is the candy you were eating that I had no idea what it was? Do you remember? Um, it was like a movie theater candy. What was it? Something chocolate. Bunch of Crunch? Bunch of Crunch?
Bunch of crunch.
Yes. I had
Yes.
never heard of that until you. And then Jeremy was like, yeah, it's like Crunch bars in a ball.
Yeah,
Like,
they're little bitty crunch bars.
I always hated Crunch bars. Like now I'm like more severely lactose intolerant, but they just taste like sand in my mouth.
Yes,
I'm
they're
not
like such a plain candy bar, and like there's a lot of places here that don't sell them, but if
yeah.
I see them like the dollar store or something, I'm like, ooh.
Yep. Yep. Okay, and last, because this is airing on Christmas Day, what's your favorite Christmas uh food, we'll say?
Favorite Christmas food? Can I say candy canes?
Yes, but really? Yeah.
Yeah, girl. Just the plain like red and white ones. I love those. They're bad for my teeth, but
Sure. Last year, two funny things happened last year. I got the Oreo ones last year because we love Oreos in this house, and they tasted like Tootsie Rolls, like, but like they weren't good. But then last year, so Ainsley was, maybe it wasn't even last year. Yeah, I think it was last year. She was not quite two, and never had sugar, like never had any sort of refined sugar or anything. So we go to Santa, and she, it's like this big thing. She is not into that at all, but he gives her a candy cane, and I mean, it's like a traumatic event. We waited like 2.5 hours, get it, traumatic event, get this candy cane. So she had just been like losing it. So we're driving home, and me and Jeremy are like, she fall asleep, and we're both like, I'm scared to look. And so we didn't look. Well, we come home, she had somehow managed to unwrap this candy cane and got it just everywhere, like ate like most of the adult sized candy cane in the 5 minutes it took to get home. And she's like, I like candy cane.
she's a girl who knows what she likes.
I'm like, okay,
Have you
well,
ever seen the Oreos that they come out with around Christmas that are covered in that like white frosting?
mm-mm,
I haven't
no.
seen them this year, but I will look next time I go to the store. And if I find them, I'll send you a picture. They
Interesting.
are so good. It's just like
Really?
Oreo and they cover it with like the whole
Like,
thing in white
is it white
frosting.
chocolate?
Um,
Maybe.
covering? I don't think so because I'm not really like a white chocolate
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
I'll like Google it and send it to you.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Well, that is it. Thank you so much for joining me. Merry Christmas, everybody watching, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Okay, bye.